Welcome to an edition of PowerSkills for Performance Management at Work. My name is Rob Schout. I hope to share with you some tips and some strategies and some insights about performance monitoring and accountability, and I hope it helps you. So let's get underway today. The topic is on performance accountability and monitoring of employees' performance at work. As I said, my name is Rob Schout. My background is in organization management and policy and culture change within the workplace, leadership and management skill development, and professional development and human behavior in the workplace. I hope I can bring some of that to bear on supporting you today. Let's talk about performance monitoring and accountability. It is one aspect or one set of skills and strategies within a whole continuum of performance management. So, all of performance management includes performance planning, establishing tasks and assignments and critical elements and expectations, deadlines, etc., for an employee to perform effectively so that they know what to do. It also includes performance development. So once they know what to do, assessing can they do it? Do they have the skills, the knowledge, the capabilities, the aptitudes, or the character to do what you're asking them to do? And we develop performance development plans. We also provide coaching, support, advising, problem solving, training, a whole bunch of things to help employees develop. But then, as they are developing and as they're applying that development, we engage in performance accountability and monitoring. After that is performance feedback and support. So, along the way, that we are asking them to give us feedback, we are giving them feedback, and then doubling up on the support based on the feedback. So, the nuances of changes. We also need to engage in performance correction, see if there are any dips in performance or lags in productivity or deliverables and where those are coming from. Then we engage in performance appraisal and ratings so that we can officially rate them so that they can then get rewards and recognition. And then we wrap all of this up with performance documentation. For today, let's just zero in on performance accountability and monitoring. So, performance accountability and monitoring is a partnership process. Sometimes there are managers and leaders, or sometimes organizational cultures, that seem to make it oppressive or an oversight action itself, whether it's because of regulation or styles of leadership. But in actuality, it's a partnership process. Employees take partnership and accountability in their own monitoring. So they proactively ask questions, proactively offer feedback, proactively engage in self assessments of their own work and of what they're struggling with and what they're accomplishing. Teams also do it. So we create during team meetings and sometimes from peer to peer on teams, partnership accountability and partnership monitoring and team accountability. But it is a partnership process. It should not just be one direction because what we're trying to do is account for, meaning we as managers or the employees or an entire team, account for the methods that are being used, account for work that's being done, or workloads that are being balanced, or quality or progress, even small micro movements and progress. We're also looking to account for and monitor any challenges, but also account for successes so that people can get proper rewards and praise. Also, holding people accountability for engagement and in ideas, and also monitoring their energy levels or their feelings about things or about their work or just how they're doing during the day. So, in performance accountability and monitoring, we're not just looking at a work task or a priority or time. That is all taken into consideration. But there are more things that we are looking to account for and asking employees to account for. Always remember, you can't manage what you're not monitoring. It's just an impossibility. If you're not monitoring something, all you're doing is guessing. at what they're doing or how things are going, and then you'll be surprised later on. So you can't manage what you aren't monitoring. It's an accountability process. Development kicks in as a part of monitoring, even though we saw the cycle of performance management that looked like a linear or looped cycle. In actuality, we're doing all of it at the same time. We're planning, we're monitoring, we're engaging in feedback at the same time, we're engaging in development at the same time. But development ensues as work is monitored. So we know what to develop, how to develop. Does someone need shadowing of another colleague so that they see how something should be done appropriately? Do they need coaching? Do they need mentoring? Do they need some training? Do they need some on-the-spot feedback? But that all comes with monitoring. So consider why you are monitoring and what you are monitoring and how you're monitoring. The first step to consider is the purpose in monitoring. There are times when supervisors or managers engage in purposeful actions, meaning they'll go out and watch an employee do something. They'll stop by an employee's desk. They'll ask for a report. They'll ask for a check-in. And all of those things may seem legitimate to the supervisor or the manager. Sometimes employees are wondering, why are you asking me this? Why are you watching me? Why are you stopping by all the time? And if employees are freaking out about your methods, they don't understand your purpose. So supervisors and managers always need to be clear about, here's my purpose in monitoring. Part of it's my job and my roles and responsibilities. Part of it's to support you in real time. And I can't do that unless I'm checking in or we're talking about something. Part of it is to oversee quality or flow of the whole team. So even though I'm stopping by your desk or I'm asking you for something, I'm really thinking about team projects or team monitoring, and you're one piece of it. So that's why I'm checking in. So always be clear about what's the purposes of your monitoring, and do your methods match the purpose? And all of that should be transparent to an employee or a group of employees. So when we're monitoring as supervisors or managers, we're monitoring how work is progressing. We're monitoring work products, and are they being delivered and delivered with quality? We're monitoring individual assignments and where people are at in their scheduling or the prioritization of those assignments, or maybe the planning for those assignments. But we're also monitoring behaviors so that people can work well together, or demonstrating professionalism or representing the organization the way it needs to be represented while they are engaging in their work. And so ask yourself, what are you monitoring, and are you making sure you're monitoring everything that needs to be monitored or being held accountable for, so that individuals, but also the entire unit, is performing at a standard that represents you, achieves the goals, and represents the reputation of the organization well as the reputation and the quality of the employee. Everything is in balance. So make sure that when you are monitoring and holding people accountable and coming up with agreements, you're balancing the type of ways and strategies and practices. Maybe you are doing some things, maybe the employees are doing other types of tactics or methods of self-accountability. Maybe a team is doing it. Maybe customers are holding employees accountable. Maybe some other departments are doing it. But always balance the type and tactics and the frequency of monitoring with the agreements and the demonstrations of proof of deliverables, or proof of behavior, or proof of feedback and application of what you're teaching them. Because if employees are demonstrating something, they are showing trust that you can trust them. And if your type then is oppressive, your type of monitoring is too forceful, too oppressive, then they're going to pull back on their demonstrations of agreements, because they're thinking This is micromanagement all the time. Why? I'm already proving I can do this. I'm already proving that we are doing this. Why are these tactics so oppressive? And if there's a reason for that, the frequency of your tactic or method, maybe because of regulation or because of a demand that you are responding to from an external stakeholder, then let people know that so that they understand that the trust can still be between us, even though the tactic is more frequent or seems more oppressive because you're responding to an outside customer. Also, let them know when micromanaging is being used and why it's being used. There are some really legitimate times and conditions in which micromanagement is absolutely the right form of management for a short period of time. If we are engaging in micromanagement for persistently, for a long period of time, then there's something going on with our own styles or the culture that is being too forceful. But there are times when we need to micromanage. Maybe the risks are so high or the requirements and the mandates are such that we have no wiggle room and we have to produce a perfect product or on time or to a certain standard. And therefore, we have to micromanage a little bit more for a certain reason. Maybe it's because people are being onboarded and they don't know what to do. Maybe a seasonal or a new employee or an intern, and they don't know what to do. So for a certain period of time, we are micromanaging so that we're setting them out on the right track with the right standards, the right quality. We're checking in on that. And do they know what they're doing? Sometimes conduct is off or behaviors are off. People know what they have to do, but they don't want to do it with other people, or they don't want to contribute to a meeting, or they think that they are the arbiters of the quality. Even if they are subject matter experts, the quality standards or the frequency of what they have to deliver might be predetermined by some other entity. And so we have to engage in some micromanagement sometimes to say, no, wait a minute. These are the standards. And so always ask, why are you engaging in micromanagement? Don't hesitate from doing it if it's necessary to pull things back on track or to ensure something is delivered. But if you're doing it on a regular basis, then it really bashes trust. And people are saying, why are you not trusting me to do this? So if you need to do it at the beginning, just to be clear that, okay, are we achieving the same plans and the same goals? Let me hear how you're going to do that. So then I'll back away. And I can trust that process or that practice or that standard of deliverable, and then back away. And if you need to check in, that's not micromanagement. Checking in is just monitoring. But set that up in a way where you are making some agreement that I'll back away. Will you chime in every 2 weeks or give me an update every week so that I don't have to come back in and do oversight? So set up some agreements so that micromanagement isn't necessary on an ongoing basis. This is a very busy slide, but it helps people, especially new supervisors and managers, to start thinking about what are all the things that you are monitoring and holding people accountable, or that you want them to hold themselves accountable for, either individually or collectively as a team in a unit. So this slide offers you an idea of a couple checklist items. And if you haven't gone over these with your individual employees or your teams, you might want to cherry pick a few of these items and say, oh, I need to go over this one. So we hold people accountable and monitor deliverables, the outputs, quality of their deliverables, adherence to rules and policies and procedures. Are they adhering to procurement procedures or travel procedures or processes for securing and safely securing technology or information? We hold people accountable for and monitor their team and peer support because they're part of a larger group. And their job is not just to do their own job, their job is to help achieve the goals of the entire unit. or the entire organization. And by making them accountable to achieve the overall goals for the unit, that means they're accountable for helping their peers or getting out of their silos and transferring their knowledge or their experience or partnering with a peer on a project. So we hold them accountable for applications of skills and guidance and learning also. If they go to a training, but they're still 3 weeks later doing the same kinds of practices that they were doing before the training, then nothing has changed. Why did we send them to a training? Or why did we give them coaching or ideas or support? So we're holding them accountable to apply the coaching, apply the feedback, apply the training. We're holding them accountable for behaviors and conduct and professionalism to bolster the reputation of themselves, but also the organization. And if they are tearing down the reputation or credibility of other team members or managers or the organization itself, then it is preventing our team and organization from achieving its goals of quality or trust with customers or deliverables. So we're holding them accountable for behaviors between each other, conduct that meets the standards of the organization and the ethics of the organization or the laws, and also professionalism, so that they are bolstering the credibility and reputation of themselves, but also everyone else. We hold accountable for written and oral communication and comments that they're making. And that doesn't mean that we're parents, but sometimes some employees make comments to other employees about the organization in meetings, and we're like, wait a minute, where are those coming from? But we also have to look at their products, their oral and written communication, their presentations, their meeting contributions. Also, their input and collaboration and engagement with the organization on committees or at meetings. We hold them accountable for and monitor their workloads and workflows and work management so they're not in overwhelm. And if we are dumping tons of priorities on them, then we help them prioritize the priorities so they're not in overwhelm. And then we also monitor their struggles, their burnout, their stress, and any balance. In addition to this, you might have your own other areas of accountability, and those might include things like holding them accountable for their use of resources or budget or time or tasks. Lots of things may come up. Maybe partnerships. You're holding them accountable for sustaining partnerships or developing partnerships. So always ask, what are we holding each other accountable for? How are you doing it or doing it with them? How frequently it needs to be done? And what support do they need so that they can be successful? I hope this list gives you some ideas. For other ideas and other trainings, please contact us at info@powerskillsinternational.com or go to our website and our contact page. Check out all of our coaching and our training. So coaching catalogs, our micro training classes, our Power Skills Everywhere 1 to 5 day courses, or even our Power Skills Revive retreats that can help you and your team rebuild your team or engage in team goal setting and planning or strategic planning or even transitional planning. I hope this helps you, my friends. My name is Rob Schout. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope you have a fantastic